Hi guys, Miss Rose here. We're ready now to do checkpoint 2. You've done activity 1 and activity 2. We've been talking a lot about the Fertile Crescent and about the beginnings of agriculture. So let's take a look at this checkpoint. Checkpoint 2 asks us first to watch this very video that you're watching, and then to complete this reading. It's from a New York Times article entitled, How the First Farmers Changed History. You know, the name of this class and the name of this particular project is Food Revolutions. And the very first food revolution was when we began to go from a hunter-gatherer society where we hunted our food and gathered berries and wild foods to where we began to grow our food. And it is believed that that began in the Fertile Crescent, okay? And that true revolution changed everything. It was that moment when, as it says here in the article, people began to domesticate plants and animals, settle down, and produce the kind of society and civilization in which we live in. As people were able to grow their own food, they began to have a food surplus. And then you could use that to trade with other local tribes for things that you didn't have. You could then use that to have more leisure time. You could also use that to explode your population. As you didn't have to chase around for your food and food became more stable, you saw the inhabitants of a region explode. As populations began to explode, people began to have different jobs. Some people grew the food, but other people were able to develop tools, and some people actually rose to leadership positions. But did it actually begin in the Fertile Crescent? And if it did, where and exactly when? Well, there is some evidence based on this New York Times article that the first man to domesticate plants and animals, particularly wild goats, was in the Zagros Mountains of Iran. And through DNA evidence found from some skeletons there, it may have happened thousands of years before they believed that it did. This article is very, very interesting and will list a number of places like the Nile River and the Fertile Crescent and Mesopotamia and Iran. And it's really important that you have an idea of where those places are. So if we return to the checkpoint, that brings us to the next activity of this checkpoint. You click on this slide, you go under File, make a copy of this selected slide, and you're going to call this with your name. I'm going to call this Rose Miner's Map of the Fertile Crescent. And then I'm going to click on it. And here it comes. When this map comes up, you'll notice that there is a paragraph on the side here. And in this paragraph, there are several words highlighted in red. These are the words that you need to find on this map. So let's just take a look at Egypt. I know that Egypt is right here. So I'm going to do Insert Text Box, and I'm going to insert a text box right here. And then I'm going to type in the words Egypt. It's as simple as that. Now, when you're finished, your map will look something like this. So here is Mesopotamia and that Fertile Crescent. But over here in Iran, which borders on Afghanistan, we see the Zagros Mountains, where now scientists and archaeologists have found evidence of human remains, which suggests that they were actually domesticating wild animals and collecting food in caves. Here's the Nile River, which we talked about earlier in this checkpoint, which has this very fertile river delta, a basin in which silt and very fertile soil is dumped, and so food grows very, very readily and easily. We see these bodies of water, which are these tiny polka dots, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, the Persian Gulf, and the Red Sea, okay? These are very, very important regions in the development of agriculture, the very first food revolution. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to come into office hours, to text or email Miss I or myself. And remember that this week we are going to be having in-person class. I believe it's on Friday, the 25th. So if you have any trouble with this map or any other problems, we can handle those then too. Have a great day, Noel leaders, and as always, stick to it. Don't give up.